Hello, friends. Are you ready?
What's for dinner?
I'm hungry.
Yum, 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 yum.
Delicious.
Let's go, everybody.
Yay!
Oh, gosh. Am I on?
Yeah. Camera, lights, action.
Chocolate walnut cake. Cake chocolatas me caridi. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Zoe's Blind Kitchen Corner. Do I look happier than usual? Yes. Because it's October and I am taping my first video for the fall winter season 2023-2024. So I'm back from the summer holidays. I'm excited to be here. I'm hoping to bring you guys many different things, many great recipes. And as always, you guys should know by now how much I love dessert. We are gonna start with dessert. So if you need to get a hold of me, let me remind you guys, zoesblindkitchencorner@gmail.com, or comment in the section below if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're watching it on Victor's channel, Whose Blind Life Is It Anyway, on Facebook, you can comment there, or on his YouTube channel, Whose Blind Life Is It Anyway. And don't worry, any which way you try to get a hold of me, I will get the messages, I will reply. So it's been a long summer, lots of ups, lots of downs. Do downs get Zoe down? No. I might cry for a second. I might scream for a few seconds. I might get depressed for about 5 minutes. But I'm a tough cookie and I move on. I've had a long year, lots of ups and downs, like I said, illnesses, weird things breaking, just anything and everything you could think of. I should write a novel. People would not believe the things that happened to me, but do I care? No. And you're gonna say, oh, she's just saying that. No. Everything happens for a reason. God tests us. God throws things at us so that we can accomplish other things, so that we can understand certain things. Everything happens for a reason. I have my family. I'm alive. There's so much awfulness going on around in the world. And I have a roof over my head, food on my table, a family who loves me, and for the most part, I don't have life-threatening health problems. So, everybody think about that. We have a lot to be thankful for. We have a lot of blessings, even if things seem bad. So, I'm back, and guess what we're making? We're making chocolate cake today. So this, I know there's thousands of recipes for chocolate cake. This is a Greek recipe. It is not my recipe. It has a very simple name, chocolate walnut cake. That's it, that's all. We do have quite an extensive list of ingredients, 15 ingredient items, and let's get to it. So let's see if I remember where everything is, but at the back over here, I've got 100 grams of walnuts. You can finely chop them, you can ground them in your food processor, or you can have them thickly chopped. It's up to you. Mine are finely ground in my food processor. I've got 150 grams of white sugar. Here I have it covered so it doesn't dry out. I have 100 grams of soft brown sugar. Back here I have 230 grams of unsalted butter. It's all cut up into pieces. Here I have 55 grams of cocoa powder, just the Dutch processed, but you can use raw cacao powder if you like. Here I have, I believe, 200 ml of milk. Now, 200 ml of milk? No?
Chocolate.
Oh, what was this then?
Powder. Powder chocolate.
Oh, sorry. Okay, guys, sorry. This is the milk. Here, right here. 200 ml of milk. The 200 ml of milk is 207 grams in weight, because we don't have a cup that's 200 ml. So I've done the weight conversions for you. It's 207 grams of milk. Here I have 100 grams of mini semi-sweet chocolate chip. Now, if you've got semi-sweet baker's chocolate, chop it up and use that. I was out of it, couldn't get to a supermarket this morning. So I'm using the 100 grams. I'm sorry, it's hot in here. 100 grams of mini chocolate chips. Here we have 2 little containers. One has half a teaspoon of salt in it. The other has 1 tablespoon of white vinegar. We're also going to use, back here I have a bottle, 1 tablespoon of good cognac. In this case, it is Greek cognac. We have a package of baking powder. We're going to use 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. We're going to use half a teaspoon of baking soda. We're going to use 3 large eggs. And also, oh, sorry, I almost forgot the flour. I've got 230 grams of all-purpose flour. And, sorry, here I have 100 grams of whipping cream. I believe that's all my ingredients. My cameraman will confirm. Did I forget anything?
No.
Okay. So before we start off, we're not going to use the cream right now. So right now, give me 1 second to put this in the fridge. It's part of our ingredient list, but we're not going to need it for quite a while. So if you measure out your ingredients like I do before you start, put it in the fridge. Okay? And I'm going to take the mini chocolate chips away. We don't need those right now. All right. We are going to bake at 345 degrees Celsius, Fahrenheit, 345 Fahrenheit, or 175 degrees Celsius, middle rack, quick bake, or air bake, or convect bake, whatever it's called in your part of the world. Okay. So, right off the bat, the first thing I want you guys to do is take your bowl of milk, which we said is 207 grams, and dump in your white vinegar. Is the white vinegar? Mm-hmm. Yeah, see? Just making sure. I kind of know where everything is, but just making sure. 1 tablespoon of white vinegar. Dump it into your milk. And give it a stir. So what are we doing? This is how you make homemade buttermilk. You can buy buttermilk. You're going to spend $5, $6, $7, $8 to buy a whole pack, a whole container of buttermilk. And you're only going to use a cup of it or 2 cups of it. And if you don't have any baking planned, it's just going to go bad. This is how you make buttermilk at home, instead of spending money to buy buttermilk. Okay? So now, when you make buttermilk, you add the white vinegar into your 207 grams of milk. It's going to curdle. Don't throw it out. That's what it's supposed to do. So I'm going to set this aside for right now. We've done our first step. Our second step is I'm going to grab a big bowl, just an empty bowl, and I have a sifter, and I showed you guys this sifter before. It's one of these. It looks like a big stainless steel mug. It feels, for those who can't see, it's iron, it's metal, and it's got a little handle on the side, and you just turn it. You can hear that sound, and it sifts the flour for you. So right off the bat, we're going to grab our flour, and what you do is you put your bowl of flour beside your big empty bowl. I have the sifter in my empty bowl, and I'm going to grab a tablespoon, and I'm going to put it right into the sifter, and I'm going to turn it. So we're sifting our flour. And I'm gonna set it down again. It doesn't matter if it's touching your flour. And I'm gonna do another spoonful. And you're gonna do this until you're finished all of it. So once you're done sifting all your flour, like I've done, pardon me, I have a ½ teaspoon measuring spoon. I have my sifter in my empty bowl now where I originally had my flour. So I'm gonna dip my ½ teaspoon into my baking soda. I'm gonna fill it up and level it off. Kind of pack it in. Okay, so I've got ½ teaspoon of baking soda in my hand. I lifted up my sifter, I'm holding it over the bowl, and I'm going to dump my ½ teaspoon of baking soda, and I'm gonna sift the baking soda into my flour. How do you know it's done? You don't, just keep going. Believe me, if you turn your sifter 20 times, it's gone, okay? Set your sifter down again. We're done with the baking soda, so we can actually put that aside. Now, we're gonna do the same thing with the baking powder. We're gonna pick up our ½ teaspoon, open up the package, fill the spoon, level it off, pick up the sifter, put it over the bowl, dump in the ½ teaspoon of baking soda. I'm not gonna need the ½ teaspoon anymore. Sift. Put your sifter down, pick up your 1 teaspoon, right? Baking soda, we need 1½ baking powder. 1½ teaspoons of baking powder. It was ½ teaspoon of baking soda, 1½ of baking powder. Lift your sifter over your bowl, dump in your 1 teaspoon of baking powder. Put that in the sink, we no longer need it. Sift. Okay, so we've got our 230 grams of flour, ½ teaspoon of baking soda, 1½ teaspoons of baking powder, and I've got in a little bowl, ½ teaspoon of salt. I'm holding the sifter over the bowl. Pour that in to your sifter and sift it in. I'm going to put my hand in just to make sure because this was a little bit coarse. That's fine. We're done with the sifting. We're done with the baking powder, baking soda, flour. We said cream and chocolate we don't need right now. And we actually don't need our cognac right now. So I'm putting that aside as well. Remember, our buttermilk is curdling. We're going to set this bowl with the flour aside. Our next step, we no longer need the empty bowl from the flour. I'm putting that away. Okay, I have cut up 230 grams of unsalted butter. I'm going to put it in the microwave to melt it. Give me a second. So I set my timer, my microwave for a minute. And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to let the whole minute run. I'm going to let it run for a bit. And I'm going to take a spoon and I'm going to, my microwave needs cleaning, by the way. Sorry about that, but I haven't gotten to it. Open it up. Feel with the spoon. Oh, it's already starting to melt. Perfect. Give it a nice stir. Press down your butter. And again, I'm so sorry my microwave is such a mess. Set your power button again. In the meantime, I'm gonna need this spoon, but here, I'll just put it there. Okay, grab another empty bowl and throw into your bowl your 55 grams of cocoa powder. Just put it into your bowl. That's it. Empty it into your bowl. I'm gonna check on my butter again. I'm gonna feel with my spoon and I will be able to feel if it's all melted, and it is. So it didn't even take a minute. I'm gonna take it. Now, if you're afraid there's maybe a little piece, don't worry about it. So, into that bowl with your 55 grams of chocolate, pour in your butter while stirring. Yes, it will be a paste, it'll be a mess. Just pour it all in. Is it all gone? I want you to stir this well because the butter is hot. You're kind of dissolving your chocolate into your butter. Scrape your sides with your spoon. I'm just doing it with a spoon right now. You are going to use a whisk soon. Now, because I want this to cool a little bit before I add the next ingredients, I'm going to set it aside and I'm going to go back to my bowl with the flour. And I actually should have done this before, but I wanted to give my chocolate a chance. So, in this bowl of flour, grab a clean spoon and add your white sugar, 150 grams of white sugar. You can add it in all at once and give it a stir with the flour, baking soda, baking powder. Just stir it all up. And now add in your 100 grams of soft brown sugar. Add it all in. Just push it out with your hand. So as you can see, this recipe doesn't need a mixer. So now I'm stirring up flour, salt, baking soda, baking powder, white sugar, and brown sugar. Just stirring it all up. Don't worry if it's, do a thorough stir, but don't worry if it's not, 100% stirred together. Let's set that aside. Grab a clean bowl and a fork and break in your 3 eggs. 1. Your ingredients should all be room temperature. Your eggs and milk and stuff should have been sitting out for about half an hour before you start. Okay. Give your eggs a beat with a fork like you're making an omelet. Now, you're not making an omelet, so you don't want to be beating this forever because you want to make it all nice and fluffy. You're just breaking up the eggs. Leave it aside. And basically now we have 1 bowl with our flour, baking soda, baking powder, salt, brown sugar, and white sugar. We have another bowl with our butter and cocoa powder. We have a 3rd bowl with our beaten eggs. We have the walnuts back there. And basically, we're almost done. So, at this point, grab your whisk. Whisk your chocolate and butter again. And while you're whisking, add in your homemade buttermilk. 207 grams of milk with 1 tablespoon of vinegar. If you have full-fat milk, I'd rather you use full-fat milk. Add that in slowly while whisking your chocolate and butter. All done? Mm-hmm. See? Uh-oh. Hold on. I felt a hair. That's not good. I didn't have to tell you guys that. But these things do happen. if you're cooking at home, it is possible. I've gotten rid of that hair. We don't want it in our cake. Okay, so now I'm whisking vigorously my cocoa powder, unsalted melted butter, homemade buttermilk, and now I'm going to add in my partially beaten eggs. Fork. See? Fork. I almost added in the fork as well. Thank God I have a cameraman who's paying attention. So add in your eggs now. All done?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, you can do one of two things. You can empty your chocolate mixture into your flour mixture, or you can add your flour mixture into your chocolate mixture. So I'm whisking now the eggs with the, I'm mixing the eggs, buttermilk, and chocolate, cocoa powder, butter. And I'm going to start adding in my flour mixture while I'm whisking. And you can add it in all at once, it doesn't matter. And I'm just going to give the bowl a tap to make sure everything is out. Clean?
All gone.
All gone. And that's Zoe making noise. And now, with your whisk, it is going to feel thick. And you can hear the flour absorbing. Listen. Did you hear that? Okay, give it a good mix. Don't overmix. Just give it a good mix until you kind of feel like there's maybe no streaks of flour. And yes, I can feel sugar. I can hear sugar, but I don't care. I just want it all mixed. Now, get rid of your whisk. You no longer need it. Grab a rubber spatula and add in your thickly ground, finely ground, medium ground walnuts, whatever your preference is. Just dump them in. And with your rubber spatula, fold and make sure everything goes everywhere. Mix, turn, fold. Okay. That's it, guys. That's all our ingredients. Anything you have left is for your ganache, chocolate ganache, which we're going to do later. So you have your cognac left, your 100 grams of chopped up chocolate, and your 100 grams of cream. Everything else should be in that bowl. Give me 1 second. I need to get something out of the fridge. I have my baking pan. It's the ones with the hole in the middle. It is a dark pan. I hate dark pans. I've told you guys this before. I wish I had aluminum or stainless steel. Unfortunately, I don't. I know they exist. I just haven't found them yet. This pan has been greased with unsalted butter. I greased it well, every crevice, the middle part, everything, and I put it in the fridge. Once the pan was cold and the butter was cold, I sifted cocoa powder into this pan and I shook off the excess. The way you do that is you turn your pan over your sink and with your hands you tap and all the excess powder will fall out. So this pan has been sitting in the fridge because I didn't want the butter to melt. So now the job is to pour your batter into your bowl. Into your pan. So you're just gonna push in. And you're going to spread with your spatula. So I'm going to do this and come back to put it in the oven. Okay, so I've poured all my batter into my pan. And I always tell you guys, and my cameraman who was helping me, he did the same. You always tap on your counter to get rid of any air bubbles. I want to tell you something. There's this new invention I read about, which says that you can buy baking strips. They're fabric that you soak, wring out the water, and put it around your pan so you can get an even cake, so it doesn't do the dome on you, so it rises. Supposedly it's a baker's secret. I am gonna look into it. What I've done is I wet my hands a little bit, just a little bit, and I just wiped the outside so my outside can be damp. Now that might not be exactly what we want because it might not be even, but who knows? You know what? We're home cooks. We're home bakers. All our mothers and grandmothers made cakes, and when they came out of the oven, they had a dome, they had cracks, they had little bumps. You know, we're home bakers. As long as it tastes good and your family loves it, don't worry so much about it. If there is an invention of what I just mentioned that does help, hey, great. We'll start using it. So I'm going to bless our cake in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. And we're going to put it in our oven. Like I said, 345 Fahrenheit, air bake, quick bake, convex bake in the middle of the oven. And I forgot my gloves. Is that middle?
A little bit towards me. There you go.
Okay, cake is in the oven. We're going to set our timer. 45 to 50 minutes. I am going to check on it at the 40-minute mark because this is a dark pan. 40 minutes. Start, and we'll be back. See you in a bit. Okay, guys, 40 minutes is up. So like I said, this recipe says 45 to 50 minutes. But because I'm cooking in a dark pan, I want to check it earlier. So I used my oven gloves. I took the cake out of the oven. I have a butter knife, and I'm going to feel where the middle is. And my knife comes out clean. Let's check one more spot. Knife comes out clean, totally clean. So our cake is ready. So let's turn off our oven. Okay. I forgot to get a wire rack out. So give me 1 second. Stay there. Okay. Got my wire rack out. Now, this is not the one I want. Give me a second. All right. The first one I got out was one that's a lower rack. This one has feet on it. So, rule of thumb, if you leave your cake in the pan, it continues cooking. A lot of recipes say leave your cake in the pan for at least 5 to 10 minutes. But I am going to put the pan on the wire rack to let it sit for about 10 minutes. And then we'll be back to insert it onto our baking rack. Okay, guys, we've had our cake in the pan for about 10 minutes. So let's see if it's going to come out easy. This can happen because maybe you didn't grease well enough. Who knows? There's so many reasons why your cake might not come out. Before you run a knife and scratch your pan, put a dinner plate over your pan and try it first. So I put a dinner plate over my cake pan and I'm going to flip it and see what happens. Now, I can tell you right off the bat, I heard a boom. So that means the middle part of the pan came out. I'm going to lift. We have a round pan with a hole in it. Now, you're going to grab the middle part and see if it comes out, which it did actually. It all came out perfectly. So now, turn your cake. Your cake is upside down on your dinner plate. So put your baking rack over your cake. And put your hand underneath your dinner plate, your hand over your baking rack, and flip. And now your cake is turned right side up on your baking rack. This needs to cool completely before we frost it. But your ganache needs to cool completely as well. So for the ganache, we said we have 100 grams of, in my case, miniature chocolate chips, but you're supposed to be using chopped up chocolate. I didn't have any. I'm using miniature chocolate chips. Stay there. I'm going to get my whipping cream. Remember the whipping cream? We put it back in the fridge. In a small saucepan, I have 100 grams of whipping cream. That's the rule of ganache. You want more? You can do 150 chocolate, 150 whipping cream. 200 chocolate, 200 whipping cream. Okay? For 100 grams of whipping cream and 100 grams of chocolate, you need 1 tablespoon of cognac. If you're going to double it because you want more chocolate, stay there, I need to get a spoon. Then I'm going to turn on the heat. I have the small saucepan on my small burner. I'm going to turn it on to between high and medium. And I'm going to wait for this to boil. If you're going to double the batch of chocolate, double your cognac. If you do 200 grams chocolate, 200 grams cream, then by all means go do 2 tablespoons of cognac. Now, if you're sighted, when your cream comes to a boil and you see it rising, take it off the heat. Otherwise, it's going to spill all over your burner, and pour it in the center of your chocolate. If you are visually impaired and have contrast vision, use a dark pot. The cream is white. You will see the cream rising because you will look at the white will come up. As soon as you see it coming up, what do? Grab it quickly off the burner and pour it over your chocolate. If you're totally blind, you will hear it rising. You have to listen carefully, but you will hear a swoosh, sort of a swooshing sound. That means your cream is rising. Now, you have your chocolate in a bowl. Try to pour it in the middle. Is it not going to work if you don't pour it exactly in the middle? No, don't worry about it. And I'm going to grab my timer because when you pour your cream, let it sit for about 2 minutes before you start stirring it. So I'm just listening for my cream and it's doing nothing. Silence. So we have nothing to worry about. I'm going to keep an eye on it. The cameraman's going to keep an eye on it too, because I want to tell you guys that this is our first recipe back. Winter's coming. Winter depresses me and it depresses a lot of people. That's another reason why I started with dessert. Chocolate cake can always get you out of depression. Yeah. Secondly, yes, maybe winter's a little depressing, but the nativity season is around the corner. American Thanksgiving is around the corner. Come the new year, we're going to have a new year, new goals, new dreams, new expectations, and then we'll be on the Pascal, what we call Pascha, which is Easter for, I guess, Catholics. We'll be on that season. Now, I hear something. Listen. I hear a noise. It's starting to boil because I can hear a noise. And even at this point, you could probably do it, but I want to wait to make sure it starts rising. I can hear the little bubbles. Ooh. Rose a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. See? That means it boiled because it rose a little bit. So, go over your bowl, try to center as best you can, and pour the hot cream. Pour it, press start on your timer, and turn off the burner. Okay, it's empty? Mm-hmm. Yeah, see? Now, we wait for 2 minutes. So, if you have contrast vision right now, your bowl did look dark in the center. Now, because there's cream all over it, it looks white. So you wait for a few minutes. The heat of the cream now is melting the chocolate. Some people stir right away. Some people wait the 1-2 minutes. So I am going to wait the 2 minutes. I just want to go back to our winter theme. There's a lot to look forward to with winter. It's not all bad. And this is coming from somebody who's had a horrible, horrible year. I don't care. I've got great food to make. I've got new designs, new jewelry to make. I've got the nativity season. I've got my prayers, going to church, seeing my family, seeing my friends. 1 minute is up. I've got the Pascal season to look forward to. And life is great no matter what happens. Please remember that. So we've got about 50 seconds. We're going to wait for the... I can even test to see. Just put my spoon kind of in the middle. Ooh, it looks pretty soft to me. But I'll just wait a little bit more. 30 seconds. Everything smells delicious. I smell chocolate. I smell cake. I smell fantastic things. And we've got 20 seconds left. And 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Start stirring from the center all around. Stir, 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 stir. Don't stop stirring. You want to melt your chocolate. Again, if you've got vision, I don't need to give you instructions. You'll see when it melts. If you're visually impaired and you have contrast vision, this white mixture needs to turn a dark color. But even if it turns a dark color, keep stirring because it may turn dark, but all your chocolate may not be completely melted. If you're blind, take it from me, by now, it's all dark. Just keep stirring. You can even lift up spoonfuls to see if you have chunks. Now, let me tell you something. Ganache, the chocolate should be completely melted. But this is a homemade cake. And if you've got 1 or 2 pieces that didn't melt, whip-de-doo. You're going to pour this on your cake. You're going to spread it. And while I'm talking to you, I haven't stopped stirring. You're going to spread it. And if you get a little piece of chocolate in your mouth, whip-de-doo, the more the merrier, delicious. So I'm scraping the sides, I'm scraping the bottom, I'm stirring. If you've got contrast vision, it's getting darker and darker, darker and darker. And you're going to now add in your delicious Greek cognac. Not that other cultures don't make great cognac, but I need to toot my horn. So I'm adding in the cognac. And stir, stir, stir. That's it. Your ganache is ready, but your cake needs to cool down completely for you to spread your ganache. And your ganache needs to cool down. Your ganache isn't going to take long to cool down. Probably half an hour. It'll be room temperature. Your cake probably needs about 2 hours. So we'll see you back for the finale. The spreading of the ganache and cutting of the cake. I love you guys. I thank you for being back. And we'll see you in a couple of hours. Okay guys, 2 hours have passed. I've placed my cake on a nice cake stand, glass cake stand. I've got my ganache in my bowl as we left it. I had covered it so that it doesn't have a crust, so that nothing falls into it, etc. Basically, if you're sighted, I'm going to give it a little stir. It's nice and thick now. Thicker. Now, if you're sighted, you can pour it on your cake. There's many ways. You can just take a spoonful and pour it on the cake. And with the back of the spoon, you can spread it. It doesn't matter. And just go around the cake and add spoonfuls. It doesn't matter if it runs down the sides and so on and so forth. That's actually good. But you want to cover the top of your cake. So it's going to take me a while to do this. I'm just taking spoonful by spoonful and putting it on my cake. So I'm going to frost the cake and come back and say goodbye to you guys. Okay guys, I've poured all the frosting on top. Actually frosting, it's not frosting, it's ganache. And if it goes on the sides, just spread it around. If it falls on your platter, you can go like this with your finger and put it on the side. You can eat it. When you slice it up, you can, you know, I'm losing my words. See, I'm not even back. Not even one episode and I'm losing my words. Anyways, when you slice it up, you can drag it across the sauce and put it on your plate and so on and so forth. The point is for your top to be covered. Mine is covered. That's it. Very easy recipe. No mixers. It's winter. We're back. Thank you to my family, my friends, my fans, my Facebook friends, everybody for watching. I love you guys very much. We're starting off with chocolate cake. See you on next week's episode of Zoe's Blind Kitchen Corner. Love you guys. Bye. I am your host, Zoe Fiogos. With sincere love and gratitude, I thank you for watching Zoe's Blind Kitchen Corner.